We heard about Easy Homes 123 through a friend at work. She's been a friend of ours for a few years. Bought a house along with her husband last year. She herself was in a similar situation. The website was really easy to maneuver around, and Fallon was able to really contact you guys. All that information was clear cut, so we had no trouble getting around your website. When we first saw the house, I fell in love with it when we walked in.
It was beautiful.
Lynn showed us the house, and then when we walked into the house and saw how beautiful it was and just the layout and the setup. I knew from that point that, you know, this is the home that we wanted to try and get. When we first got together and got married, we went from an apartment we rented a house, and the house was older, you know, but with that comes all the older. We couldn't paint, we couldn't park certain places, and even though it was nice being able, if something broke down, they'd call and say, hey, you still had a lot of restrictions. We expressed interest in mid-April. Within, I think it wasn't even a day or two, I was on the phone with Steve, and he was just telling me and giving us a good sense of, you know, we're in the right direction. You know, we hadn't talked to him, we haven't met. This was just the initial conversation, and they wanted to help us get into a home. And to hear that after being married for 5 years and renting, it was just such a good feeling. And then literally 6 weeks later, we're with the mortgage company and Steve and Lynn, and we're all sitting in a room and we're signing papers. And then once we got into the house, you know, you do your walkthroughs and the home inspections, but obviously there's stuff you can't really test until you get in there. And even for us, I mean, there was, you know, a couple of just little smaller stuff that we had no idea about, we couldn't test. And, you know, you contact Steve saying, hey, what do you think? And within 24 hours, Steve had people out at the house helping us, checking it out for us, and it was fixed just like that. Or they would send someone back to make sure it was fixed and working, because they stand behind their product, want to make sure that everything is the way that they sold it to us. It really was just kind of a, you know, we can do what we want with the house, and we have the freedom and just the excitement of going that week to, you know, tools that we need that we never thought of, or, you know, just the excitement of what can happen when we start having a family, and just knowing that for the next 30 plus years that that home is ours. And just the effort that Steve and Lynn go through with Easy Homes to help make us feel as important as we should feel with buying a home and the next step of our lives, and for them to help be a part of it for us and get us there. Just, it's a feeling you really can't describe, but it's definitely a good one. I would say for people either like us, who are first-time home buyers with really no experience, no knowledge of what it takes to buy a home. All you see is the horror stories in the news about foreclosures. You know, really there's stuff to scare away. And then once you contact Lynn and Steve at Easy Homes, you really see that there's a whole other world out there, and programs for people like us, whether it's first-time buyers, for families, people who want families, families that are already established that maybe not so good with their credit, or just looking for a fresh start. I personally think that's what Easy Homes is about, is trying to give families another chance. If anybody was to ask me to buy a home, I would definitely send them to Easy Homes and tell them to talk to Steve and Lynn, and really they will make it as easy as 1, 2, 3.